Welcome to the Rainmaker Multiplier on Demand, a podcast for leading financial professionals, or rainmakers, and their teams that offer support for securing a successful future. From marketing help to staffing structure, listen and subscribe for actionable insights from advisors and skilled professionals alike.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Seitz, Chief Marketing Officer at C2P. Recently, Jason Smith, founder and CEO of C2P, had a conversation with Todd Lambot, founder and Chief AI Simplifier. There was so much to talk about that we've split our conversation into two parts. You're currently listening or watching part 2 of their conversation. We have links to part 1 in the description of today's episode. For this conversation, Jason and Tom dig into what is really meant to move beyond experimenting with AI and start using it as a true competitive advantage. Tom breaks down how advisors can protect and amplify their authentic voice, avoid costly manual work, and integrate AI into their daily workflow in a way that improves both speed and quality. They also explore powerful frameworks like the 3 experts, why traditional prompt engineering holds most people back, and simple voice-first strategies listeners can use immediately to think more clearly, communicate more effectively, and lead at a higher level. We hope you enjoy.
Like in your example you're given there, and one of the things you taught in the AI Simplifier course is cutting up or creating custom GTP, basically like a JSON bot, right? That all of the way I communicate is in there, and then having that, be a way to be able to deliver emails and messages from me that sounds a lot like me without me having to be in the weeds and involved with every word of that email.
Exactly. And there's doing it, and there's doing it the right way. And the impact is monumental, right? Because a lot of people are technically, I got a Tom bot, I got a Jason bot. But if it doesn't have the nuance and the detail, and if it doesn't really capture your voice,
Right.
then it's either replicating your voice. That's the baseline. I believe when done the right way, it can actually amplify your voice. It can clarify your voice and make it even better. But most people are not at the base. They're not even at the baseline. They're doing it wrong. Right.
They're
And
letting
so
the AI voice represent as if it's their voice, and they're, to your point of eroding the brand, it's inauthentic, right? And people can read right through it.
And think about the high performer, the high performing financial advisors who do have an assistant, and the assistant's helping with a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And they say, hey, use this to reply to my emails and save me time. So now the assistants are doing it. The emails are coming from you, but they don't sound like you. And your clients can tell that instantly. And again, it erodes and chips away your authenticity, and your authenticity is everything these days. In a world where you can create a custom video of Jason Smith like that, and you can't tell the difference, authenticity is everything. It's more important than ever.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, a lot of the advisors, we just actually had our team retreat with a lot of our top financial advisor clients and their teams in Park City, Utah last week. And we had a session on AI. And I think, we did a formal poll of hands of who's using it and who's kind of just more in experiment mode. And I think most people are still just in experiment mode, right? Like they're using it in very simple, basic ways and just kind of experimenting with it. So from your perspective, what's danger about staying in that permanent kind of experiment mode instead of committing to more of like a structured, program or 30-day implementation to learn how to use it?
I think the problem is that experiments don't create habits, right? It's kind of like dipping your toe in the pool, but never jumping in.
Yeah.
Right. To me, that's what I hear when I hear we're experimenting with AI. That's a safe way to say, like, hey, we're not doing too much in production, but I'm poking it on occasion. Right.
Yeah.
So if you're just trying AI when you remember, you're never going to build into your workflow. It's always going to feel optional. And that's what we do in the 30-day sprint. My focus with everything, it's extreme curation, right? and saying, what are the fewest shifts that if you can start doing this, you're going to start using AI not 2, 3, or 5 times more than you currently are, but 10 times and beyond. And that's not an exaggeration, right? Now you're working with it continuously, right? There's many things you don't do without it amplifying or supplementing what you're doing. When you learn how to do that, you increase the speed you're able to ship while also increasing the quality of the output. And that's a very important distinction that people experimenting with AI, they'll save time, but they'll rarely also improve the quality of their work simultaneously. Um, so we force the habit essentially, right? By the seventh day, you're using voice first extraction daily. By the end of the month, it's automatic. It's just your new way of working. So when you experiment, just kind of poke it on occasion, you're not going to make real progress. Just like it's like, oh, I want to get healthy, and you work out a couple times a month, and it's like, yeah, it's not working for me,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. In the so in the firms that you've worked with, what are the 2 or 3 activities advisors still do manually that,
Mhm.
based on your experience, that you'd label as dangerously expensive for a founder or for that group of advisors or team to keep allowing to happen manually?
Yeah, kind of looking back and go, I can't believe we used to do it that way, right? What are those things? So, client meeting prep, that's a huge one. Advisors spend 30 to 60 minutes before every client meeting to review the notes, past conversations, account details. You can pull that together in 90 seconds, right? You just need to load the context once and you say, hey, here's what's going on. I'm meeting with this person, in 1 hour. Tell me what I need to know, what's relevant, what's the most important. It can analyze all the past conversations and meetings in history, right? That's a big one because every time you meet with a client, that's 30 to 60 minutes. And an even bigger one is writing up the follow-up emails after meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a pain point for me for my entire life, right? You have a great meeting. They say, yes, we're in, we want to do it. I mean, I think of Goldmac IT all the times when we've got a big whale of a client and they're in, and then my procrastination tendencies kick in and just try to get in the way. And so instead of sending out the email 10 minutes after, usually, sometimes you're back to back to back to back to back, and you've got meetings all day long and they're win, win, win. This is great. But you also know that you don't have time to follow up with them. So you end up doing it late at night when you're tired, you're not sharp, after you've cleaned up the kitchen, put the kids to bed, you're like, okay, I got to reply. So you're not as sharp. You don't have all the nuance and the details, right? And you can, I mean, advisors will spend 5, 10, 30, 45 minutes, right? Not an exaggeration. They're per client crafting personalized follow-up emails that still miss and overlook crucial things in the conversation, right? So if you're doing that manually, you're spending easy 5 to 10 hours a week on something AI can do in a few minutes per client and make it more personalized and just more effective overall.
Nice, nice. So, Tom, like when the founder, because you basically have 2 programs, because I've gone through the kind of founder CEO, kind of
Mhm.
top level executive kind of program, and then the other one is for the team. And why don't you delineate between the 2 real quickly, like for that?
Sure.
So, where's the cutoff point of where you'd
Yeah.
have people go in the first group, more of the
Mhm.
founder, CEO, top executive
Yeah.
versus, in the other group for the rest of the team?
Yeah, so we've got the core where we started is the founder sprint. Okay, the founder sprint is for CEOs and COOs, sometimes some leadership team members as well. And then we've got the team sprint. Both of them are the exact same in terms of content. Okay, so the 4 weeks, we've got voice, time, obstacles, opportunities.
Yep,
We cover 8 AI mindsets, all the tools, the custom GPTs and frameworks. So both programs have all the exact same stuff.
yep,
The teams program, the difference is it's being run by my Christine, my amazing operations manager, and she works really well with team members. Where I personally know that I don't. I know I don't have the patience for it, right? Um, but more importantly, what we did in addition to it for her for the teams training, we had it modified so that it's better received and retained by team members, which are typically higher fact finders and higher follow throughs referring to the Colby profile that many of us use in our companies. And so the importance of that is that it's the exact same content and tools and frameworks that the leadership team and the rest of the team learns. So once they finish, you have a shared set of shared language you can use as a team, right? Hey, Susie, did you build your bot yet? Why not? Get on. That's going to save you a huge amount of time. Did you try the 3 experts for this issue? Right. And so now people can support each other and amplify them. And another really important distinction is that it's not a skill-based program. And what that means is that if you have someone who's super tech savvy, they're playing with AI, they're doing all this stuff, and at the other end of the spectrum, you've got the total non-techie person on your team, both of them are going to learn and make massive leaps in progress. And at the time they're done, they have that shared set of, common language they can use. Whereas most of the AI training, they are fixed at a point in time, talking about specific features or the latest update that came out and showing them tactically how to use it.
Yeah.
But if it's for an entry-level user, it might be way ahead. If it's for someone who's very skilled, it might be way too basic.
Right.
And so you kind of alienate different people in the groups.
Yeah, I know for me, the 3 experts has been, other than, switching over to the Mac and just already the AI implementation and efficiency and just things being more seamless and intuitive. There was a learning curve. I got a little frustrated when I went to that. I'm like, why isn't this click working this way? And you know what I mean? Like just like little differences. But
the breaking in period.
What's that?
The breaking in period.
Yeah, there's
we're used to everything being here for 20 years, right?
Yeah,
now it's over there.
Yeah, exactly. But since that, that's been huge. But the 3 experts, for me, as the, founder and, more in the visionary role of the company, I do a lot of vision and strategy type of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger picture problem solving, thinking, planning, strategizing. And the 3 experts has been a game changer, man. I mean, just like utilizing that of like, ask, and being very specific on who you want those 3 experts to be. If you know names, you can even say names of like, and they take on that persona and they debate it. And then ChatGPT kind of filters the debate. And then you can see the whole dialogue. It's amazing. Like how much better for, strategic thinking and planning that's made.
Well, the power behind that, and for the listeners who are thinking, what's 3 experts? You might have many people, more popularized would be the board of directors or the act as a, prompt, right? And there's like 879 different act as a prompt. And the problem with all those is that they're tactical. If it's the right thing you need for that right application, it might be helpful, right? Although many times they're still very generic and not helpful. And so what we've done in the sprint is created what are the foundational shifts? Foundational being, for example, if you learn how to breathe better, every area of your life will improve, right? You'll sleep better. You'll have more patience. You'll be able to calm your autonomous nervous system and all these different things just from learning how to breathe. Right. So again, simple, but not simplistic. Right. So all of the key things we teach are like that. So when you use the 3 experts, I literally use it in every single area of my life. And that is not an exaggeration. Right. From cooking to mental health support to veterinary support with my dogs, to financial, to longevity and health, and of course, all the business areas. So
I tell you, some of the 3 experts, my mom a few weeks ago had a pretty major heart surgery and actually had to have 2 surgeries back to back. And she had the first surgery and there was kind of like a little bit of a discrepancy or whatever information that was incorrect. One doctor said this, one doctor said this, and they were actually going down a path of doing something based on one doctor, but then it was like, but this other doctor said this, and now that doctor was off and wasn't in the hospital any longer. And I was kind of managing all this. I'm in the hospital room. So I pull up her, the test results. I take a picture of it, a screenshot. I put it into ChatGPT. I give it the context. I said, take on the 3 top, cardiac, specialists and surgeons, and, gave it all the, details of kind of who these guys were. But I said, take on the top in the nation.
Yep.
And, these doctors that we're kind of working on, but I said, use that, the persona of them, debate on these test results, then provide a recommendation of what the course of action that you would recommend would be. Well, it turned out one of the doctors was incorrect, and it was the one that was now kind of leading the charge of the direction they were going to go. Without going into too much detail, everything changed when I came out with this. And then I asked to meet with like the attending physician for the floor, and then patient advocacy. It was wrong. It was literally, they were going down the wrong path with my mom, and it could have been a bad situation. And using this tool literally like changed the course, potentially, who knows what the outcome.
Potentially saving your life. I mean, let's say what we're not saying, right? And having the confidence to advocate for yourself, especially in a world where you know nothing. Like for me, medical, that's it. Or veterinary, for most of us, we don't know anything, so we have to trust these people. A similar parallel with our vet earlier this year. We have 2 French bulldogs. One of them hurt his leg, so my wife took him in. They're like, oh well, they said he has a torn ACL. We need to do surgery. It's going to be 3 months of rehab.
Yeah.
And so I gave all the context. I did the 3 experts, and the first thing they said, well, oh, that surgery, it's usually misdiagnosed by 80% of the time. Did they put him under to check the ligament properly? And I was like, nope. Okay, well, hold off on it a few weeks and check in. We held off. We put it off, and he's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right. So how many times where the diagnosis is wrong, but we don't have the confidence or the knowledge to say anything against it. Right. And right there. And I had a similar thing with my wife over the past 6 weeks. We've been dealing with some very serious health issues, and it's helped me multiple times in a similar way that you explained. So it's amazing how powerful this is and the key is when people learn how to use it the right way,
Right.
and that's the difference. Like very few people, most people think that's the double-edged sword of using AI is that you can use AI, save time, and then you tell yourself, yes, I'm using AI. And so you think you're doing a good job of it because you don't know what's possible, right? And that's what people come through our program to learn is like what's possible and how do we actually do it and go, oh my goodness.
And this was awesome. Thank you so much, man. And love to have you back another time if you're open to kind of doing a part 2. You just so much great information. As I learn, we can have this dialogue, and hopefully other people learn, and they can go through your program. But been very helpful. Thank you so much for your time today, Tom.
My pleasure. Yeah. And if anyone wants more info, just go to ai-simplifier.com or connect with me on LinkedIn. And I love to hear from everybody.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you by C2P, an organization whose purpose is to educate, train, grow, and support holistic financial advisors so families can achieve true prosperity. Never miss an episode by subscribing now to discover new resources and strategies. Visit c2penterprises.com to learn how we can help scale and secure your business. At the time of delivery and any subsequent publishing, information was deemed reliable, but is subject to change by the time of listening or viewing. The contents of this piece include options and projections of C2P, are subject to change, and are for informational purposes only. The information provided in this presentation is not intended to be individual investment, tax, or legal advice.